a brief little talk about what is called green community tours, and I see I'm really happy to see that Ray Oster has joined us. Ray was involved in creating actually chaired the committee in creating the Haliburton Green Tour. And so throughout my presentation, you'll see several graphics, et cetera. They're recycled from the green tour that we did do at Haliburton. And yeah, so let's get to it. So, eco, right? I mean, it's a word that's used a lot, and but in its essence, it just simply means that anything that is not harmful to the environment or the natural habitat or ecology, just whatever it is not harmful. And that is the essence of what we all need to do more and more in our lives, is seek out and adopt the many eco alternatives that exist in businesses and our choice of purchases every day. And when you dig into your own communities, it's quite surprising how many individuals, small home enterprises, small businesses are energetically working with an eco model for their business. And so Green Tours is about discovering those people in your own community and creating a tourism event that allows people to explore various communities throughout Ontario and understand and discover all kinds of new ways and means of improving their own ability to be eco-friendly. Bill, if you could give me the next slide. So this was the map that accompanied people, but people that chose to go on the tour in Haliburton. We hosted a green tour through the Haliburton County Development Corporation. It was birthed in the Environment and Green Energy Committee with one of our municipalities, and the Haliburton County Development Corporation, with Ray Oster's leadership, put this particular green tour together in cooperation with a number of different entities within Haliburton County. So we have, for example, an entity called ULinks, which is primarily a bit of an extension of Trent University, which helps in research. They assisted us in identifying businesses in the area that were working within the environmental field. And it's in our case, we created what we called simply loops, so that you could make a 2 or 3 day event out of it, the weekend, to tour the different loops and understand how different people are incorporating eco-friendly lifestyles into their own lifestyle, and making choices that might be different than mainstream. So Bill, could you give me the next slide? So, many would argue that we are now in the era of climate adaptation. And that would be my personal view. That climate change has clearly occurred, and it is now more important than ever to understand how we can adapt to it. Community Green Tours increases our understanding of the things we can adopt into our own lifestyle, and thereby help the planet while securing our own future. So, when you break down climate science to the most basic statements, it's warming, and it's us, and we're sure, and it's bad, and we can fix it. We can certainly start actively pursuing the means of adapting to it, because it's here. And securing our own future involves making eco alternatives And as leaders, we all should encourage ways and means that members of our community can discover those eco alternatives. The next slide, Bill. So community green tours highlight innovation, responsible living, skills, demonstrations, and local food through stops at local residences, cottages, businesses, and municipalities. Each stop is unique, presenting ways and means to assist in our fight against climate change, while also providing skills and ideas to increase our own resiliency as we move into an uncertain future. And you know, a lot of these things have been said over the years, and we've heard them so many times, but I think we would all agree that there is little question that we are moving into an uncertain future. And there's no greater sense of urgency than now to start to inform ourselves and create ways and means for our community members to become informed about how they can adapt to this changing future. Next slide, Bill. So they're all around us, you know. If you just stop and you start looking at your community, it's amazing what the businesses, the people that are within our own community that practice incredibly eco-friendly alternatives, who lead lifestyles that are incredibly eco-friendly. Everything from a hairstylist who uses only natural products. Maybe there's a fellow that you know, he works out of his back barn and he fixes stuff. You know, so you've got a vacuum cleaner that's broken, or you've got you know, your whatever, you've got something that's busted. Well, you know, don't throw it away. You know, take it to old Bill there down the road and he'll fix it. You've got people that will, you've got, you know, or maybe you've got a biologist in your community that understands about how to protect shorelines and how to encourage fish habitat, fowl habitat, and how to properly maintain and look after, if you happen to live on a lake, look after your shoreline. There's any number of businesses and people that would probably really love to participate in a tour where they can tell their story, and so many other people can learn from it at such an important, critical time. Next slide, Bill. Yeah, so some examples, right? Like, you know, a bicycle retailer, right? I mean, that's eco-friendly, doesn't harm the environment. Recycling, you know, going to the metal recycler. I mean, that's an eco business. You know, the things you could find out when you go to a recycler, I mean, it's remarkable, just entering into conversation, and they love to talk. Everybody loves to talk about what they do. You know, eco-friendly toys, plastic-based clothing, biofuel production, electronic refurbishing, green housekeeping, you know, upcycled furniture, any kind of a green franchise, solar panels, reusable bottles, many things. Next slide, Bill. So if you were to put together a small committee and reach out to what you believe would be interested, to what you believe should be interested partners, such as your county, this could be seen as a tourism opportunity, and everybody seems to just love tourism, so perhaps that's the place to target at the county. Perhaps you have at the county you have an environmental committee. Perhaps that's the place. Perhaps you have a development corporation like we do. Perhaps you just have a lot of great people that are interested in putting this together and putting the effort behind it to create it. But once you have a small team and you can identify individuals, businesses, initiatives in your own community. The municipalities often have several of their own initiatives. Perhaps they've recently redone the arena to be more energy efficient. Well, that's a story, and that's eco-friendly. So identify your partners. Identify what the opportunity might be on a green tour in context of numbers and who these people are. Create a map. Put together your loops and plan your routes, and then promote it through a brochure, of course, all through this normal social media channels, the local newspaper. In our case, we have cottager associations here in Haliburton. As I said earlier, you could partner with county tourism. You can try to find sponsors. Perhaps you've got some large businesses that provide eco alternatives, and perhaps they'd be interested in sponsoring the event. You will have expenses. There will be signage that you'd have to put up to guide people along the route. A sign outside each stop on the tour. Often they're sort of coded with a number so that people can relate it back to the map. Next slide, Bill. This is just a simple little example that the Haliburton County Development Corporation Green Committee put together to promote this opportunity. And it was very simple. There was a small blog. This is back in 2013. So, you know, wouldn't take much to put a website together these days. Lots of ways through electronic media that you can promote your own green tour. Next slide, Bill. And then finally, you put together a comprehensive fold-out map. This happens to be on a I think it was a 4x8 card that was double-sided. And it just simply shows you what the tour loop is, and each stop is numbered, and it gives you a brief overview of what you'll discover on that stop, so people can, the night before or whenever, they can sit down and plan their stops. Maybe they want to they're very interested in, how do I grow what can I do to be a better gardener, and how would I build a root cellar because I want to store some food, and you know, how do I plan rotating the different things that I'm going to grow, and is it possible to have a hoop house? So maybe what they're looking at is, how do I want to learn about that. So they can go through the map and identify what stops they want that relate to what their interest is, and away they go. We had a good response. I struggle to not say excellent. We had a good response to this tour, and you know, priorities change. And there is we did this back in 2013, I believe. So. But it's a great idea, and there's no more important time than now to find ways and means to inform and educate our own community members about the ways and means and the alternatives that exist in their own community. People love to be empowered, and we live in a time where it's so easy to feel so hopeless. I mean, you know, every day you read this stuff, and focusing on your own community, I've always believed, is the best way to create positive change, because it's the only place you could probably really create positive change yourself, because it's where you live. And a green tour really promotes the ways and means for people to live a life that is more eco-friendly.